A healthy grilled cheese sandwich may sound like an oxymoron. However, if we use high quality ingredients, which we'll go over in just a second, it's entirely possible. The classic grilled cheese consists of white bread, butter from factory farmed cows, and the highly processed, dreaded American cheese. We're going to replace the white bread with a gluten-free bread that tastes, in my opinion, just as good, the regular butter with butter from 95% grass-fed cows, and the chemical-laden American cheese with 100% grass-fed cheddar and goat's milk mozzarella. All of these ingredients can be found at your local Whole Foods. Plus, as a bonus, I'm going to include a link to a food database that I've built that will tell you where you can find just about any hard-to-find food. There's everything from pasture-raised meats directly from farmers to gluten-free bakeries that ship, and a lot more. And while it's extremely easy to get an epic cheese pull with the processed stuff, if you've ever tried to do that with real cheese, it's almost always a disappointment. So, the following 3 hacks I'm going to teach you will ensure glorious, gooey goodness every single time. For starters, you want to use a big 12-inch nonstick skillet, and don't use a smaller one. We're going to need all this real estate. You'll see why later. Toss a big knob of butter in there and swirl it around the pan to create a nice even layer. Hack number 1, guys, is simply to salt your bread. Guys, this is so obvious, yet I've never seen it in another grilled cheese tutorial video online. Salt makes the cheese cheesier. It makes the bread taste more like bread. It makes the butter more buttery-er. You need that sodium for your taste buds to activate. So like you just saw, I like to throw a big pinch of salt in there and then just swirl the bread around in that salty, buttery goodness. All right, while the bread's doing its thing, take your cheese that you shredded yourself. I hope to God, do not use the pre-shredded stuff. It's caked in sawdust and just doesn't melt right. And just kind of form it into a little patty that's roughly going to fit the size of your bread. Now, there's no art and science to this. Just take the cheese and just kind of mush it together until it's the size of a little cheese patty that's going to fit your bread. And then check your bread periodically, and once it's nice and brown on the inside, flip it over and put that little cheese patty that we made from earlier inside. And that brings us to hack number 2, which is toasting both the inside and the outside of the bread. Now, normally with a grilled cheese recipe, you place the cheese in the middle and toast the outside of the bread only. As the heat slowly transfers from the outside of the bread to the center, where the cheese is, it melts. And this is all fine and well for the chemically processed stuff, but with real cheese, you're going to burn your bread far before the cheese has had a chance to melt. By toasting the inside of the bread first, in addition to giving you double crunch, and then doing it again on the outside, we're going to give the cheese a head start by exposing it to the warm bread, which is going to speed up that melting process. All right, that brings us to hack number 3, which is adding a tablespoon of water to the pan and then putting a lid on. That steamy environment caused by the water, of course, is going to melt the cheese much, much faster. And if you're worried about your bread sogging out from the water, don't be. Because we're using the 12-inch pan, the water's going to pool up on a single side and won't come into contact with the bread at all. Now you got to be careful, don't add too much, and just to be safe, you can tilt the pan towards you or off to the side a bit to kind of control where the water is going to flow. Now just continue cooking until the cheese is nice and gooey. You'll want to do this over medium to medium low heat as to not burn the bread. Keep checking periodically. You can add water, put the lid on, give it a flip, check it again, add more water, cover again, as needed until it's nice and ready. And that's it. You've just made the world's healthiest grilled cheese sandwich from grass-fed / pasture-raised butter and cheese, and of course gluten-free bread. Now, if you didn't want the carbs from the bread, you could easily swap it out for, say, an almond flour bread. That would make it keto / paleo friendly. Hope you guys enjoyed, and this is my second YouTube video, so please show your support by subscribing and liking the video so that this channel can grow. Until next time, peace.